this is a significant piece that I like to talk about. And ultimately, this is something I like to highlight for people. I'll go through a couple other things just before I move on to the next slide.
Mark, quick question.
Yes.
In this training, do they identify themselves?
In which train? In the one that we engage with?
Yeah, in these, the engagement, this data that you're showing us right now.
So no, so this is the data from the World Economic Forum. Is surveyed from leaders and executives. They do not identify themselves in terms of the leaders. It doesn't say exactly who. It says anonymous data.
Yeah, that just seems one of the biggest drops that we have when it comes to bringing and introducing any new methodology into a company. The lack of ability and the lack of vision to be able to connect the dots is surprisingly high. Yeah. And then the other thing you have is reskilling. I would probably say upskilling, because they still need to utilize the skills that they currently have. So that's just a little.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. Okay. I absolutely agree. Again, these new technologies, upskilling exactly. You know, they have to become comfortable, confident, and aware of what's even possible. And that takes it into, well, how do you do that? And we're actually going to highlight that in the learning organization. So thank you, David. It is David, yes. I think I saw your name when you were speaking. Yeah, awesome. I agree completely. And you're seeing that even, you know, look at the bottom, the hiring new temporary staff with skills relevant to new technologies. You know, we see a movement in this around that contractor gig economy. You know, you're creating centers of excellence around automation to understand what automation work can be done. How can you currently introduce it? And then
can I throw another thought in there. I'm sorry
please.
When you said that. Training is awful. I think everyone who's on here often goes to a training, or they might have these kind of little blurbs that are, you know, they're not interactive. They may be just these like choices, you know, multiple choices. And HR is, I have not seen a good HR create a solid training pack that engages people. Now on the teams, obviously I can get anyone here, you know, hey, Toby, you can teach me what you know, I can teach you what you know, I know, and balance that. Do you have any thoughts about that before we move on?
I absolutely do. I'm going to highlight that in the learning organization section. Though
okay.
Before I do, I've got you in here. So let's play. This is in fact where I like to jam. So, you know, you're talking training is absolutely dreadful. I hear you. Can we talk about what makes it dreadful and what would you like to see instead?
Is that a question to me, or
that
is
a question to you? And by the way, for those watching, if you're bold enough to engage, you get to do this too.
Now, many years ago, I was doing I mapped a team, external team as a contractor, coming in and mapping against one-on-one team, and I was to do DevOps. Now, you know, at that time, I didn't know much of DevOps. I still know, I probably know a little bit more, but not enough to do it myself. However, I found, in fact, everyone really enjoyed that. I basically ripped the place apart, got everyone working together, and we just kept on turning around. The speed of learning was astounding. It was very fun. It was a surprise to me too, because we were just testing stuff. We got to deliver things every week. You know, usually we're on a 2-week cycle, but I say let's target every Friday. You know,
if you had to attribute that to one thing specifically, what was the
difference? So is that
specifically
bringing those people together and training together as a team, and that team can go off in matter of, you know, maybe a couple of months at the most, and do their thing, and then moving on to someone else. So that specifically for me was the best effort I've ever done. It was in partnership with, you know, obviously developers and QA and, you know, DevOps, etc. Really exciting.
And then what makes it not so good? So I love the win. I'm going to extract that and come back to that. So thank you for sharing those positives. What makes it not good? You know, we highlight that it's bad. What's so bad around most training?
Computer-based training.
Oh, here we go. You said what?
Computer-based training.
Computer-based. Interesting. So we have a preference for in-person, I'm hearing. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
Well, essentially being able to ask questions. It's
the
just
interactive nature of
right.
Closing out the thought, getting the answer.
And the other thing is you walk away with a lot less knowledge because you're getting bored and your mind's kind of shutting down as you go through it. And it's kind of, when does this end type of stuff.
Right. Yeah.
I think also you're not getting value out of it, right? If
Exactly.
you're working it, you're learning it. If you're not, it's there. It's
There's
in the back of your mind if you lost
contextual
it.
piece missing, right? And it's the actual application. This is that difference, right? And so we see this in learning models. I'm really excited to continue this conversation. Jim, David, thank you for contributing there, because we see that to be true. And the training piece is going to be critical to this reskilling element. So I'm going to continue to the next slide. I'm going to come back to both of you because you guys are jamming.